Tensions boiled over between David Benavidez and David Morrell in Miami as they nearly fought during a heated face-off. David confronts Morrell, questioning his disrespect and challenging his actions. He asserts his dominance by saying, "I will break your mouth."
He's trying to act hard, man, but whatever it is what it is. On February 1st, I'm going in there. We'll break your mouth.
¿Cómo fue?
I'm gonna break your mouth.
No te entiendo, dime.
David Benavidez calls out Morrell, saying all the strategies being used are useless. He's confident, doesn't see Morrell as a real threat, and says he'll show them how it's done in the ring.
Ain't no easy fight. These guys saying I'm an easy fight. You better go in there and do what you gotta do. When I knock you the out, I don't want you to say shit. Alright, we're gonna see. We're in the sea.
Lo único que tú es para adelante, un solo cambio.
Okay.
Un solo cambio, usted no tiene más nada.
I'm glad these fucking idiots thinking like this.
David Benavidez says his opponent will need help from Cubans to try to beat him, but even with that, the Cubans won't own him after the fight.
To change.
This guy every time he's talking shit, so it's okay.
Okay. So guys,
Benavidez and Morrell nearly fought after a media workout in Miami. They went face-to-face, trash-talked, and things got heated. Benavidez dropped his belt and shoved Morrell, which kicked off a scuffle between their teams. Security stepped in before it got worse. Leonard Ellerby says this is a real 50-50 fight. Morrell is strong, aggressive, and won't hold back. Ellerby thinks this fight is important for David's career and his rise in the sport. He adds Morrell has wanted this fight for a while.
Right. Well, yeah, David's always been that guy. He wants to get in there with the best, and he wants to stay active. He wants to fight these guys. He's a fighter's fighter. And nothing but the utmost respect for him. But this fight right here is a true 50-50. This one's a because he got a kid, not a kid, a young man that's in front of him that's coming to bring it. You're not gonna sit back and be cute with it, you know, and just wait to the late rounds to hopefully he get tired and now he coming to get it.
Bozy Ennis talks about Benavidez versus Morrell. He says Benavidez is aggressive, throws lots of fast punches, and wears opponents down with volume. Morrell fights smart, Cuban style, but hits hard and isn't afraid to engage. He thinks it'll come down to who takes control first, since they both have different strengths.
I'm fighting you.
Yeah.
And don't mind, that's why I'm saying it's who get to who first, man. That's right. And so you got to remember, Morrell's a puncher too.
Yeah.
Now, Benavidez will beat you with, hurt you and stop you with accumulation of punches. So you put them two fights together, man, you got a hell of a fight, man.
Bozy says both still gotta adjust to 175. Moving up affects how they perform, and it takes time to adapt. Thinks they'll be better this time since they've had more time to get used to it.
You have to get used to that weight. A lot of people, some people are just natural. You know what I mean? You can move right up and take care of, you know, certain people in that weight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then you got some guys, you know, you gotta adjust their body for that. You know what I mean? You know, and that's what it looked like to me with them two. Look like they gotta make more adjustments to their body at that weight. So this time when they fight, they should be all right then. You know, because they broke the what you call them, the water barrel, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean?
George Mosey says Benavidez has fought as high as cruiserweight, but is moving down to 175 lbs, light heavyweight. He thinks this could give Benavidez an edge with his natural weight, but wonders if his speed, one of his biggest strengths, will be affected. In the end, he believes Benavidez will be fine at 175 lbs without losing much speed.
I want to say Benavidez because it's closer to his natural weight, but at the same time, will the speed be there? I think because that's one of his best attributes, the fact he let his hands go. Now, again, his natural weight, so he may feel just naturally more comfortable and we may not see any difference, you know what I mean? Well, the difference we saw in his last fight, I'm sorry, was that it seemed like he didn't take his power. But again, the dude he fought,
Mosi predicts that if there's a stoppage in the fight between Benavidez and Morrell, it would likely be Benavidez causing it. He points out Morrell has shown weaknesses and taken a lot of punches recently. While a stoppage would surprise Mosi, he thinks it's still a possibility based on Morrell's recent performances.
Benavidez, I think it'll benefit him more.
Will it surprise you if that ends in a stoppage?
Morrell and Benavidez, if anybody stop, I think Benavidez may stop him, if anything. Because he was taking some shots. His last fight, Morrell was taking a lot of shots. So, yes, it would surprise me. Yeah, it definitely would. You see my brain.
David Benavidez talks about David Morrell, saying Morrell finishes fights quick, but hasn't fought top-level opponents. Benavidez believes his experience and conditioning will give him the edge. His plan is to take the fight into the later rounds and outlast Morrell. He's confident his skills will be enough to win.
He's fought against people that are not really good. That's why he finishes them early. I fought with people that are experienced, veterans in the ring, and I finish them late. So that it's gonna be, you know, my experience versus, you know, his him just trying to go in there, you know, trying to score a quick knockout or whatever it is that his game plan is. I don't really know what he's going to try to do, but I'm 100% focused, and I know that this fight is not going to be easy. You know, it's probably going to end in the later rounds. So my plan is to go in there and drown him in the deep waters.
Tim Bradley thinks Morrell still lacks experience. He wasn't impressed with Morrell's last fight and doesn't believe he's ready for the top guys yet. He prefers Benavidez because he can switch between pressure and boxing.
I think Morrell still needs a little bit more seasoning, to be honest with you. I wasn't too fond of his last fight.
It's part of why
I really
was Benavidez. Yep.
Yeah, it wasn't too fond. You know, Benavidez can do a little bit of everything. We only see him as being a pressure type of assassin type of guy, you know, throwing quick combinations and really, you know, just stepping on the gas and squashing guys. But, you know, he can move and box if he wants to as well.
Lorenzo Simpson talks about the timing of the Morrell versus Benavidez fight. He says both guys need a big fight to build their names. He mentions Benavidez has a style that involves coming forward and throwing a lot of punches quickly.
One of them fights that the fans deserve and boxing fans deserve.
Is this like an early version of like Better Bevo, like catching them like 5-6 years earlier?
Yeah, only reason I feel like it's early because I feel like neither one, they both need the name. They both need the big fight, and it's not gonna happen no time soon. Like nobody else that they fight is gonna have a name. So them two is available. So I feel like they're doing the right thing.
Lorenzo says Morrell can punch as well, so the fight won't be like most. He points out both can knock each other out. He also mentions Morrell would fight differently against Canelo compared to Benavidez.
He has the counter a lot, but I think Morrell can punch like him, so I think it's gonna be a different fight that y'all see all the time. Like when two people can punch, you can't be like just throwing all. You feel me? You can't be throwing all the shots that he usually throw. He can get caught, you know. Like if he was to fight Canelo, I don't think he would go in there with all them shots, you know. So I mean, it'd just be great to see styles match up and see what they can do.
Steven Espinoza compares this fight to Beterbiev versus Yard, saying it'll be unpredictable. Believes Benavidez and Morrell are evenly matched, skilled, and in their primes with no clear advantage for either.
I sort of look at it like the same way I looked at Bivol Beterbiev, not stylistically, but Bivol and Beterbiev are going to fight 100 times, and every single time it's going to be a close decision. It just, you know, that's the way they're always going to be. We'll see what happens in the ring, but I don't think there's anybody who can decisively say what's going to happen in that fight. I mean, they're two young, strong, skilled guys, you know, in the primes of their careers. So I think they're as well positioned to take this fight. There's not really anything in either guy's background that you can point and say this will be the deciding factor.
David Morrell talks about his fight with David Benavidez. He says it's been a long time coming and he's focused on putting in 100% effort to prepare. Morrell respects Benavidez and his team, but makes it clear there's no personal issues, just business in the ring.
You know, right now, so my mental is the person, not the future. I mean, right now I'm focused on this time. I have a long time in 20 counts, so I'm focused right now. You know, everybody watch me. Everybody know me.
And 2 months in the house, so now it's 4 months, like, I was surprised.
Jesse Hart is hyped for the February 1st fight between David Morrell and David Benavidez. He says it's big for the division and plans to watch it closely. Morrell showed some weaknesses in his first 12-round fight, especially slowing down, and Jesse thinks that could be an opening.
I want to see how David Benavidez performed at 175. He looked like he was about 200 and something pounds. He looked like he was about 220 at the face-off when I seen on Premier Boxing Champions. Yeah. That guy didn't even look like a fighter. No athlete should ever get that big, ever, in history of his boxing. That's laziness, that's inactivity, and that's just, I don't care. I'm gonna eat what I want, a bunch of tamales and beer drinking. He had a beer belly, ladies and gentlemen. That was a beer belly. I'm not looking there. Every time you see Jesse, I'm lean, mean, cut up, and great shape. I will never, that's not how a fighter's supposed to carry themselves, that's not how a champion's supposed to carry themselves. Dave Morrell, I'm looking, have he grown? Can we get him, that last fight, I seen a lot of weaknesses in him, a lot of weaknesses. I'm looking at have he grown from that fight that he went 12 rounds for the first time in his ever career.
Caleb Plant talks about David Benavidez and David Morrell's fighting styles. He says Benavidez is aggressive and throws good combinations, while Morrell is more crafty and a bit more reserved. Caleb is excited about their potential fight and thinks their different styles would make it a good matchup for fans.
You know, their styles are different. Southpaw, right-handed, you know, one puts their punches together very well, and so does David Morrell, but he's a little more crafty. Well, he's a little more maybe passive in his approach. You know, I'll say that. And but that's a big fight. You know, that's one I'm excited for. So.
Caleb looks back on his fight with David Benavidez. He says he was giving him problems early on, but ran out of gas later, which let Benavidez take over. Caleb points out that boxing is unpredictable and the truth comes out in the ring. He's looking forward to the Benavidez versus Morrell fight and thinks it'll be exciting.
You know, that's the great thing about boxing is, you know, we're gonna find out, you know, when the bell rings, and truth will come to light. So until then, it's a great fight on paper, and, you know, one that I'm excited for.
Do you see any similarities between you and David Morrell?
I mean, we're both have good traps. We're both slick, slightly different, but we don't fight just alike. But there's some similarities and boxing ability there.
Is that a fight you're interested in the future? If you guys ever, you and David Morrell?
I mean, he's at 75, but, you know, I welcome a fight with David Morrell as well.
Sergio Mora says Benavidez's style is efficient, explosive, and fast. He compares it to Diego Corrales, saying Benavidez can throw quick combos without much body movement. His long arms and narrow shoulders let him stay quick and throw a lot of punches in a small space, making him a tough opponent.
We're in front of you than most fighters because he doesn't have to rotate his entire body. He does it, if you notice, when you watch Benavidez throws combinations, he's like a Diego Corrales, you know, he's like, I hear it, you know, instead of rotating. He's like, it's beautiful to see, but you can only do that because he has the stature, he has the long arms, and he has the short, you know, the thin shoulders, they're not that wide. And yeah, man, he's a specimen. I think beats Morrell.
Jose Benavidez Sr. expresses enthusiasm for the upcoming fight between David Morrell and David Benavidez. He says Morrell's talented, explosive, tricky, and a lefty, so it's a tough challenge, but real exciting.
Doing really good, super excited about this event. David Morrell against David Benavidez, fighting for the interim WBC title and the WBA world title. So we're fighting in another different division, 175, and we're fighting a fighter that's super talented, had a very good pedigree, a two-time world champion, explosive, young, exciting, and very tricky fighter, left-hander too. So
Jose says there's no competition for David at 168 pounds except Canelo, but Canelo wants $200 million for the fight. That's why they moved up to 175 pounds to find better opportunities.
No, you know, there's nothing at 168 right now. I believe that there's no fighter at 168 besides Canelo. Canelo wants $200 million to face David Benavidez. That's why we decided to go to 175. But yeah, big upset, you know. I was watching that fight. I never in my million years thought that would happen, a big upset. I thought it was just a homecoming. Munguia was supposed to look impressive and go on and fight Billy and then maybe a rematch with Canelo Alvarez. But then this is what we get, a big surprise. He gets dropped by a guy that only had 4 knockouts, you know? Even Canelo cannot do that against Munguia. So I was very impressed. and it was a shock to the world, so it could be fight of the year.
Greg Hackett says both fighters see each other as real threats and got a lot to prove in this weight class. No easy fight here. Stakes are high and they're training hard. Fighters and trainers are all in, showing how serious this is.
They fight. They know each other as a threat. They know each other as a threat. Yeah, I mean, they know each other as a threat, and it's a lot riding. It's a lot riding on it, and they know they both got something to prove. They had a new weight class. You know what I'm saying? It's a big argument over the two because some people like Morrell, some like Benavidez. This is one of them good fights. That's how you know, because people are not calling this a cherry pick. They're not saying this. They know what kind of fight it is. You know what I'm saying? So the fighters definitely know. They can feel it. And you always know when it's a high intensity fight because your trainers and all them be real.
Hackett favors Benz's experience. He thinks Morrell will control the early rounds, but Benz's pressure will start to tell. By round 4, 5, or 6, Hackett expects Benz to land a clean shot, maybe break Morrell's nose, and turn the fight around.
Morrell gonna look good first 5. He gonna look good first 5. Maybe first 3 before it take a turn, but I say the first 5, he gonna look good. Then Benavidez gonna start looking more and more scary. We're gonna start, this card start getting dark, watch. It's gonna be one of them dark beatings. He might even, Benavidez might even bust Morrell's nose. I got him busting his nose like around the 4th round, 5th round, 6th round. Around there, we're gonna see some blood from Morrell, from the nose. Watch.
Stephen Edwards says Benavidez's constant pressure is tough to handle, and Morrell hasn't faced anyone who's tested him like that yet. He questions if Morrell can deal with being pushed back and forced to adjust, something he hasn't had to do before.
Losing. There's a difference when you go back to the corner after 6 rounds and you don't know if you're up. A lot of these young fighters haven't had that yet. So I have to see what his adjustments is like when he's not winning the fight, or when the other guy is putting the kind of mental pressure on him where it starts to create a little bit of doubt. I'm very impressed with David Morrell, but he kind of relies on his forcefulness, his strength, his size. I mean, he's way too big to be fighting 68 pounds. I've been around, he's a big guy, you know, so I'm very, very impressed with him.
Edwards says Morrell's more offensive than most Cuban fighters, but that might leave him open against Benavidez. He thinks Benavidez's left hook to the liver, good against southpaws, could be the key and might get him a late round win.
There's a lot of punches, man. He's really good at punching with you. He can counter punch. He's very conscious of his defense. You know, he's just not in there just letting his head get snapped back all over the place. When you see him get hit, if you look at him real close, even when he does get hit, his hands are up. So the punches are going to have to go through his glove. He's deflecting a lot of the power of the punches off. And I thought he had better defense than Demetrius in their fight, although Demetrius is viewed as the more as the better defensive fighter.
Sean Porter says Benavidez has the edge over Morrell because of his experience. He's more familiar with the 175-pound weight class, while Morrell might struggle there. That experience gives Benavidez the advantage.
That's 50-50 right there. If anything, 55-45 for Benavidez. I love David versus David. I love everything about the fight. The thing I feel that Benavidez has over Morrell is experience.
Sean adds that experience is key in a 12-round fight. Morrell hasn't faced much resistance, but Benavidez has. He knows how to handle tough situations, giving him the edge.
When you are in a competitive fight that's gonna go 12 rounds, of course you're prepared for the 12, but when you have had that experience of having resistance at different points in the fight, it's nothing new to you. Morrell has not had resistance. His fight with Hot Rod, that was a different kind of resistance. That was the resistance of somebody staying away from you, you know what I mean? And him not being able to catch up to him. With Benavidez can bang with him. He's just as fast, he can box with them. And that sort of resistance, it plays a mental game with you, and it becomes a roller coaster ride.
Lonnie B says David Morrell is really good. Solid footwork, slick offense, and good punching power. He thinks Morrell's style could cause problems for David Benavidez because Morrell is faster, a good counterpuncher, while Benavidez leans on his size and power to dominate.
tough fight. David Morrell is really good. He's really, really good. Yeah, he's good. I can't even. He's good.
You're kind of giving me a face like you don't know who wins that fight.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh.
Because David Morrell is big too. He's big for super middleweight too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's big. He can punch. He's slick. Real got that Cuban style. What he Cuban?
Yeah.
Like real slick.
But offensive with it.
Offensive with it. And those styles are tough for anybody to fight.
Lonnie B compares Benavidez and Morrell, saying Benavidez uses his size to pressure but isn't as slick as Morrell. He believes Morrell's speed and counterpunching ability could give Benavidez trouble.
Especially with Dave, with that style he got, David's really not slick. He just uses his size to wear guys down. He walk him down and he's so big, you hitting him, but you really can't get him good because he's too big.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? With David Morrell, he would really have to worry about some heat coming back being thrown at him, and David Morrell got real good feet. He got real good feet, so I think that would give David some trouble, and he can punch.
Tim Bradley says Benavidez is more versatile, capable of pressuring and boxing. He believes Benavidez has more tools than Morrell, who struggles against fighters that switch up styles. Morrell prefers opponents who stay in one spot, so Bradley thinks he'd have a tough time with Benavidez.
Morrell's gonna struggle against that, man. Morrell, he likes guys that are pretty much stationary, man. In my opinion. I thought Hot Rod did a good job of switching his game plan up, going intertwining, boxing and pressuring and boxing and pressuring. I thought he did that very, very well, and that's something I believe that...
Undefeated light heavyweights David El Monstro Benavidez and David Morrell Jr. faced off at a press conference in LA on November 19th. They'll fight for Benavidez's interim WBC and Morrell's WBA titles. Benavidez responded to Morrell's challenge, saying he's confident and ready to prove he's the better fighter. He dismissed Morrell's claims, saying Morrell hasn't faced anyone like him. Benavidez is focused on shutting him up and showing he's on a different level.
This the stuff you're saying, that he was being really disrespectful. But other than this, like, these are the type of fighters I want to fight. I want to fight the people that they have confidence in themselves, that they think they're gonna go in there and knock me out, that they say that I haven't fought somebody like him. At the end of the day, he's never fought nobody like me. And I'm gonna prove everybody that there's levels to this. And I'm not playing when I'm saying I'm gonna break his mouth, because that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Yeah.
Benavidez keeps going, saying Morrell's jaw won't handle what's coming. He tells him to be ready because he's going to beat him up. No respect for Morrell, just confident he'll prove he's the boss in the fight.
When he says,
let me. I want to.
You don't have power for this.
You don't have. I
don't have power for this.
I don't have power. No, I don't have power.
Not for this.
I'm gonna show you.
They break my mouth.
I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you.
Hell no.
I'm gonna break your
Hell no.
mouth.
You're not
Talking all that
powerful for my mouth. Hell no.
Talking all that shit. When you have a jaw brace on, that's gonna be. That's my gift to you.
You boys,
that's
you
my
know
gift to
more
you.
better, man. Like, shut the fuck up. What the f you mean?
What are you saying? What are you saying?
Man, you're a stupid shit.
I'm gonna beat the fuck out of you.
No, man. Okay, what do you do? Okay, baby, what do you do? Whatever you do.
All right. And then I want you to come ready because I'll beat the fuck out of y'all.
Benavidez laughs at Morrell's comments and says he doesn't know what he's talking about, claims he'll beat him, and isn't bothered by Morrell's social media talk. He keeps talking trash and brushing off Morrell's claims.
Whatever you do. All right, whatever you do.
We'll see.
Whatever you do.
You know what? These are, like I said, these are the type of fighters I want people that are
stupid.
What the fuck you getting on your phone for? We're in the press conference.
We're in the
press. Now he's gonna go on Instagram. Look at this guy. He's nervous, man.
Number what?
Vas a ver.
¿Qué voy a ver, mijo? ¿Qué voy a ver? Voy a ver de un show nunca vio. Voy a ver de un show nunca vio, mijo.
Morrell talks about being a two-time world champ with power, speed, and strong boxing IQ. He knows fighting Benavidez will be a tough fight, but says he's ready for it. Morrell is confident and excited.
All right, so basically, David, I don't know what you're talking about. You have a big mouth, and you're saying you're Mexican.
It's too much for you.
Continue, Martin.
All right, so I don't know what the f you're talking about, really. You're talking about and in the end, you're saying you're Mexican and everything, this and that, and in the end, look, you say you're gonna break my mouth, you know what you're talking about.
David Benavidez mentions something Morrell said about his dad. He doesn't recall the details, but says it was enough to get him fired up for the fight. He's focused on proving to Morrell he's the best, and that Morrell hasn't fought anyone like him.
What was this interview I seen? I really don't remember what exactly he said, but he knows what I'm talking about. And that's fine. That's exactly what I needed to get me started for this fight. Like I said, we're in the sea. I don't know who this guy thinks he is. He thinks he's big and bad. He thinks he's tough. He ain't. And I'm going to show you who the best one is February 1st.
Bro. Morrell says he's 100% ready for the fight and tells Benavidez to be ready too. Adds that when he wins, there won't be any excuses. He's focused and determined to prove he's the better fighter.
For the story.
Look, and this is also directed to Jose Benavidez Sr. I don't know what you guys are talking about or whatever I said, but whatever that happened that day and it was posted on Twitter, that's just a bunch of bullshit. I don't know what you're talking about, but in the end, like that's when you started talking, that's when you started provoking me, and that's when I got into it with you too. Look, and whatever happened that time happened. Now I want to just go out there and beat the shit out of you because I don't know what you're talking about, what I said, but in the end, look, I'm right here. I'm talking to you, and whatever was said on Twitter, it's really no concern of mine.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Drop a comment below with your thoughts. Catch you in the next one.